All right, folks, welcome back to the Whale Webby. Sorry, I was a little tardy. I was too busy making my AI persona using ChatGPT, so that took a little longer than expected. As always, we have the two most amazing co-hosts in the world, the indomitable, incredibly good-looking, and 75 hard checkbox,
Oh, we
Sandra
talking about
Schroeder.
me?
Well, I had a good pump up for you. Sandra's actually coming in remote this time, so you don't see his wonderful artwork, but he gets it done, people. That's just the kind of guy he is. And then obviously the most lovely, the best pickleball newsletter out there. Also, possibly a YouTube channel. Is that what I caught?
Yeah.
Yeah.
YouTube and Spotify. Catch me on all three platforms.
Let's go. And so, if you want to get up to speed on the most latest, greatest awesomeness in pickleball, make sure to sign up. Did you go with Sunday Dink Club, or what did you decide?
Yeah, Sunday Dinking Club.
Amazing. So we'll drop some deets in there. Today we're going to go over the dashboard. A cool bunch of amazing updates there. We have a new ocean mode, aka dark mode. There's some segmentation going on there. Let's see. Before we get into it, what you guys got? Any current events? Anything? Also, toss any questions in the chat. We love to chat with you guys. It's boring when it becomes a lecture, so we want to make sure that you guys are involved. So any questions, toss them in the chat. Or put them in the questions box. What have you guys been following? Anything kind of crazy that you've been looking at?
No, well, I mean, definitely the AI space because we're trying to build in that. So I was looking at, there's a pretty cool video that maybe some folks have seen, but there's folks on YouTube that are kind of compiling and remixing the big Google announcement they did around AI and the video. And CBS did a spot on them on Sunday. It was
Bard, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Bard is what it's called. Yeah,
yeah. And it's got a long way to go, but the fact that they're behind it, I think it'll move with some speed. And it's worth checking out the CBS little clip. It's on. If you watch CBS Sunday morning stuff, it's kind of it's a good little clip.
Do you guys find it weird that Google is kind of like there's kind of a funny joke about the people that call for an armistice are the people that don't have the weapons. And it feels like Google and Elon are kind of like, and to be fair, I don't know if there's any merit behind what they're saying because I don't know where AI ends up. And I do think there's a lot of philosophical kind of societal questions there. But it feels like the best thing to do when you're behind is scream to make everybody else slow down. Is that just me being tin hat foil wearing? I mean, because hands down, Google is absolutely behind, right? I mean, Microsoft is in OpenAI. OpenAI is the leader. Midjourney's crushing. Like Adobe has Firefly, but I don't know. Is that me being a little InfoWarsy or what? What do you think?
Half and half. Wasn't Elon kind of ahead
You're
of the
always
curve?
A hater.
I mean, wasn't Elon ahead of the curve with his trucks? Like that was using AI to do self-driving. No,
they haven't shipped.
I know, but he's been researching it. It's not like he doesn't understand.
Yeah,
I think your point is that he's behind. He's behind, so he's screaming. I don't know if he's really behind.
Self-driving cars were supposed. Anyways, don't get me on the Elon.
Elon's one of the founders of OpenAI.
He never invested
in the cap table.
No, he never invested.
Yeah, he invested $100 million.
Ask ChatGPT right now. Is he an investor?
He reneged
in going in the round with Microsoft. He put $100 million in.
Ooh.
We'll have to fact check that. Somebody in the chat fact check that because my understanding was he didn't. But okay, well, moving on. Did you guys see the Sonder 1, Rob 0, Elon 44 Billy? Well, actually, I think 20 or something. It was a big haircut. You guys see that AI song? Anybody catch that one?
Yeah, you're talking about Drake, right?
Drake and The Weeknd.
Yeah,
that's crazy, right?
Apparently, someone wrote the entire song and then composed it, and then the AI filled in some gaps. So it's like I looked at like the debunking of it, and apparently it wasn't as crazy as they made it seem to be.
Unbelievable, this guy, isn't he? Every glass of Kool-Aid I'm making, he's just pouring salt in it. Unreal.
I'm just being real about it.
I just don't know what that means for artists. Like let's say you upload that to Spotify and it gets, let's just say, because the hype, not that it's any good, just because the hype, it gets 100 million listens. I think that pays out a decent amount. Let's just say it pays out 10 grand, 20 grand. Does it go to the person who uploaded it, or does Drake deserve it? I don't know.
It goes
We
to the
can't
person that uploads it.
I know, but who
I
deserves
think,
it? I know who it goes
well,
to.
Drake technically owns the rights to his voice. I think that's what's interesting with Justin Bieber. He sold like all the rights to his voice and his music. And
and his
so I
voice,
think that,
not just
yeah,
his
so
music.
so that could be like super interesting if artists sell the rights to like their voice, then whoever technically owns it, I don't know who bought it, but they could theoretically then make songs using the artist's voice, and then they would own everything.
Uh-huh.
That was like, I thought was interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. There's a couple questions in the chat. Kelsey, Caitlin, I see you guys. We'll get to those in 2 seconds. The last order of business was, what do you guys think about Shopify axing all the meetings? No meetings there.
That.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of old news, right? Where they decided on like quarter one, right?
Yeah, it wasn't implemented. It went live Jan 3, 2023. No recurring meetings, 3 people plus, all got. They said they netted over a year. That's 322,000 hours less of meetings.
Jeez,
it's incredible.
That's wild.
That's 37
years
a lot
of
employees,
meetings. Though. It's a lot of employees. I bet it gets like my buddy works at Michelin, which I think is up there in the Fortune 100 or whatnot. But I know Shopify is really big, so I'd be curious. At that level, you're probably in meetings all the time, or they were. They're probably looking at calendars and they're like, nothing's getting done really because everyone's just meeting about things getting done.
Yeah, I love it. Big fan of Harley and the Shopify squad. And then the last thing is, I had a transcendental GPT-4 experience. So trying to get back into writing, I had this little shop app kind of story about like the 3 Rabbas and then going back and forth, blah, blah, blah. I wrote the story. Not a horrible story. I'll post a link in it. I went through ChatGPT twice. What it spit out was so good. I mean, I'm 100% on board now. Like if you can write some semblance of a skeleton, it's really crazy to see how easily it can be filled in with actually like internet worthy prose. So really interested to see like the acceleration there is just insanity. And to your point, Logan, like who gets the credit, right? Like at what point do you decide credit? Like, is it the idea? Is it the execution? Is it the editing? Like, it's going to be a really interesting time. But
I'll tell you from a marketing thing, just to tie this all together, for marketers who are probably in this webinar and a discussion about AI, with the newsletter content that I was building with this new pickleball thing that I'm doing. Essentially, the idea was I just wanted to create a newsletter. But I said, well, if I'm creating a newsletter, I might as well just create YouTube because I could read all the stuff that I just wrote and publish it to YouTube. And then I could take that audio and publish it to Spotify. So in one sense, I really think it'll be great when I can automate all those tasks. Like maybe there's a generated version of me. They can just read my newsletter and be wherever I want to be. I could be in a pickleball court because AI can make me look like I'm in some sweet spot and publish that. Then chop it up into 30-second shorts for YouTube. And beyond that, when it has access to the internet, I could just feed it content and I could have it write my newsletter for me. And it could literally do the whole process, I think. And that's what I want to see happen in the next 6-12 months.
There's a guy that's working on, and we'll absolutely get to all your amazing questions. Last thing to wrap up. There's a guy working on just that, where it's essentially like a web scraper using AI. And it's essentially servicing like podcasts where it's like, here's all the happenings in marketing, et cetera, and here's all the big things to talk about. It makes briefs and stuff like that. We're actually leveraging that now for our podcast network, where we're scraping all the transcriptions, and then plowing them into GPT-4 to see if there's any common anomalies or anything like that we need to talk about more and more and more. So I think there's, like get Matt the link to sub. Get in there, Logan. Shameless plug. Okay, let's jump in.
Wait, Robba, question.
Hit me. Oh, there's 3 questions already. This is amazing. Let's go.
So with your Chat GPT, so it sounds like you created like an initial outline.
It wasn't an outline. It was a proper essay.
Oh, okay. How many additional prompts did it take with Chat GPT? Just 2?
Well, and they were, the first one was fine. So essentially, basically, I told it, hey, make this more exciting and compelling. Literally, that was the prompt. and then it gave me back this incredible story, and then the second one was kind of like around the same thing, like, oh, this is incredible, but make it even more exciting or whatever. And that third version was incredible. And what's even trippier is it does it almost in real time. Like you can see it coming up with, because it's just basically coming up with the next word. It's insane. I'll add the versions to the link that or the story I put, and you can see kind of the first like the Raba OG version, the version 1, and the version 2, which I ended up publishing on Twitter. It's insane, dude. Like it really is. And I consider myself a above average writer, and like I had zero issue with the tone, the tact, the this, the that. And to Logan's point, you can start training it on yourself in a weird way, where you can say, hey, use this essay as a reference point for
how
my
I should write in
voice.
the future.
Exactly, to use certain it's crazy. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like they need another Black Mirror episode, but it's gonna be amazing.
All right,
That's
questions.
crazy.
Let's knock some
Questions.
questions out.
Yeah, amazing. Christopher, 100%, dude. I totally agree with you with the dance performances. I have a gal that's using it for yoga sequences, for workouts. Like it's going to become like the internet on steroids, where if you're not going to use it, you're really going to fall behind. Okay. This first question comes from Kelsey, I believe. Kelsey, how you been?
Kelsey,
K Hops. Okay, let's do this.
throw it up.
A way to see the following metrics in the TW dashboard: first time versus returning customers, love it, have that. Repurchases, I do not have that on my dashboard. Maybe we can figure out a way to get that. And first time purchasers, return rate, that's also going to be in cohorting. I think there's a cohort thing in here, so we can pop into both. But let me just show you guys the my screen.
I think in the short here, I think the cohort analysis is going to be your best bet from an overall standpoint. And then if you want to get really granular, I think the SCDP is a place to go to understand of customers who ordered in whatever month and ordered this product and have placed at least 2 orders overall time, right? So then that way you'll know that these customers are repeat ones. This is what they bought first. There's some different segments you can build there just to understand the math.
Yeah, great point. So we'll go through all these sections, but for you, what you're going to want to do is set up a customer mix section. So this is what my customer mix looks like here. So you're going to see your total orders right here, your AOV. This is going to be your new customer AOV. So that's just going to take your new customer revenue divided by your total amount of new customers. You can only be a new customer once. Your LTV, so it's going to be summing all the revenue across that date range divided by orders or customers, excuse me, new customer CPA, blended CPA. And then here's where you're going to get into your new customer mix, where you're going to have, actually, I want this over here, excuse me. I haven't really totally conquered the columns yet because there's a bunch of really cool stuff here, but I'm trying for you guys. And then here's your customer mix right here, where you're going to see percentage or you're going to see returning and new customers. So this is something that I really like to look at to understand that ecosystem. So that's what I would set up. Maybe you don't need all these tiles. I went a little bit overboard on the tiles. One of the things that we're going to be building in the future in the dashboard is being able to generate a hierarchy through size. Right now, everything's kind of the same size, and so it's hard to know where to look. But yeah, so that is where you would do that. And then what was the other one? So that's first time versus returning. That's all going to be in real time as well. And so you can also see the trends, which is really, really nice. So if you go to a more expanded period, you can also change the group by if you want to see less granularity there. But you can see returning, new customers. And if you drill down, you can actually see graphs in here as well, which is pretty cool.
The one thing to note, I don't know if you have it here, but you can create a custom metric, Kelsey, for returning customer orders. Take orders minus new customer orders. Okay, and you can see the count.
Call it again.
So your returning customer order count, maybe, is what you would call it.
Number of returning orders. Okay, what's the formula you're using?
Just take orders minus new customer orders.
Okay. So click metrics. So I'm going to say all the orders.
This plays well
Got 'em.
into our webinar today. How to use the summary page to make the metrics you want.
And then where are we going here? What'd you say? Orders.
Should be labeled new customer orders.
So you're going to subtract the new customer orders from the orders?
To get returning customer orders. Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Don't we? I thought we had that as a default metric. Is it not default?
I'm not
We-
seeing it here.
I don't believe so. Oh, I forgot to add it to my section. Silly me. Da-na-na-na-na. Where's my customer mix? When you create a custom metric, there's a little spot that says add to. Oh no, it's returning. And returning customer orders. Okay, amazing. And I want this next to my orders. So you can drag and drop stuff
you
as
have it
well.
in a,
easily.
I think you have it in a dollar format instead of a number.
Oh.
But anyway,
Look at that. So you can easily change your custom metrics by clicking on this. You see, it's all. And then you can have a percentage form and or number. Amazing. This should be in my customer mix. Got them.
yay.
Nice.
And then where did it go? Building in real time, people. We're riding the lightning.
I put it at the bottom again of your.
So if it worked.
HTMLs.
There we go. 5,881.
And I think we're going to get the ability to scope that precision as well, because you're never going to have a decimal place order from Shopify. So we will get all that sussed out, but we do put a sweet little comment there for you. So now you have your orders, your returning customer orders, and then you know your actual returning customer split right here. You have refunds, your revenues, total sales. Great addition, actually. I like that a lot. So you have your absolute orders, and then you could also, if you wanted to, break it down, but this should be pretty close unless a bunch of people are doing more returning orders. So you might have this inflated, but that gives you kind of that nice customer split. I'm a big fan of kind of like that 60-40 split, 70-30. It's also, like we talked about in past webinars, going to be very dependent on the age of the business and the type of business. But fantastic question, Kelsey. Okay, amazing. What's next, boys? Okay, we answered that. We'll punt the cohort. I'll have you take the cohort question, Sandra. Let's go through the dashboard, just a couple, so we don't jump to 17 different screens. Best way to set up POAS, new and returning customers as well. I think this was an answer actually to Kelsey's question from who is this wonderful human? From Kevin, another OG. Okay, let's see. Amazing.
Oh, look,
Oh,
Carlos
sorry.
said number
That was
of
a
new
question.
customers and number of returning customers, which we have there. It's awesome.
Woo, got
Right?
'em.
Hopefully, Carlos, that answered your question. What we just did. And then, Rabah, the second part of that question that you wanted to give to Sandra about cohorts was like how formulas work and customized dashboard creation. So maybe we can go over what you've got here. And then Sandra and I were actually going over a refined version of our new customer contribution margin earlier.
Ooh, I would love to get into that. Yeah. Okay, so we can do here disparity, 2 metrics, number of customers. Okay, yeah. So we answered this. So yeah, this is right built into your Shoppies. So you don't even need to create a custom metric. You can just put whatever metric you want in there. Edit section. And then you'll have your returning customers, new customer revenue, new customer orders, returning customer revenue. So everything's already pre-built for you, and then you can slice and dice it however you want. So fantastic question there. Okay, so let me just go through. Let's see, there's a huge disparity, so we'll take that on. Okay, yeah, let me just go through the high level of this. So this is one setup. So everything is in sections. Those sections are comprised of tiles. You can make custom metrics. This is just one way that I like to set it up. I do it kind of more so in terms of an order and operations. When I'm running an account, this is what I want to see. So I'm going to have my sales. So this is total sales. Then my net sales will be sans the discounts or refunds, excuse me. Discounts are already taken out. And then we have our 3 ROAS. You guys know how I feel about that. You can set actual targets here as well. The POAS target's a little funky right now. So if it resets for you, I already submitted the bug report, but you can submit these. And so if they are above or below your target, so say this is a target of 8, it makes it really pretty. And so you can quickly glance there. This is average contribution margin per order. This is something we're going to talk about because they have a really cool metric that is not just taking in the average contribution margin, but it's actually only taking in the new customer CPA versus the blended CPA, which is really cool. And then we're taking your cost of delivery, which we'll get into. AMER is going to be the same as new customer ROAS, just a percentage form. So again, when you're reading this, the blended ROAS says for every dollar in ad spend, you're generating $8 in revenue, $8.10 in revenue. For every dollar in ad spend, you're generating $2.85 in new customer revenue. And for every dollar in ad spend, you're generating $4.91 in gross profit. So effectiveness, efficiency, profit. Those are the 3 things you care about when you're running paid media. Average contribution margin per order, fantastic metric. You can see it here. So we're just taking the, like we said, cost of delivery. We can actually add in some really cool things as well that we'll show you again. You have all your deltas here. Fantastic. Your MER is just going to be percentage form of your blended ROAS. So what's this saying? It's saying that 12% of your revenues were spent on ads. This is saying 35% of your revenues were spent on new customer revenue. What else do I got? So blended CPA is just your total blended CPA. New customer CPA is obviously going to be higher. These are new customers. This is something, if you have recharge, you should have tagging here. So what this is how much money is coming from my recharge in total. And then what's that, the percentage of total revenues, how much money is coming from my email, and what's that in percentage of that. So this is a really heavily subscription / email driven business. So almost 73/4 of the revenues are coming from email and subscriptions. And then the next thing I like to look at is my ad spend. So you just have the total ads here, Facebook, Google. And then I like to do a percentage as well. So this is just a custom metric where you're just going to take your Google ads divided by your blended ad spend. And then if you want something else and you don't really want these tiles, I like the tiles because it'll tell me the deltas. But we also have this really cool click in where you can jam into this and you can see not only the trends, not only the comparisons to the previous period and or month over month, but you can also see how these blended ad spend. And if you have any custom expense ad spend, you can see that in there as well. Pretty slick there. The next thing is kind of Logan and Saunders domain, but this is where I like to see the pixel. This is kind of me going through my paid media now, what's happening in my paid media, and then what's the health of my Klaviyo ecosystem. So you have your net new subscribers, which is just new subscribe minus unsubscribe, and then again the percentages with the absolutes, just to make sure that I have a really close eye on my email without having to go to Klaviyo. We have your customer mix, as we said, with everything in there. One thing here with refunds, Logan had a really good point in just making sure that you don't freak out with refunds. They're more of like depending on how you process refunds, where I had tons of clients that would batch process refunds. So just make sure you're looking at refunds across a longer time period. So you make sure that you're not looking at day to day, because sometimes there's going to be a spike there. And then returning customers, net sales, like we said, recharge. Again, so we have first time subscription orders. So this is first subscriptions. This is recurring subscriptions. And this is the sum of those two. And then again, percentage of that. And then the profit printer is going to be where I really start to drill down into stuff. So my POAS, average contribution margin per order, we'll add the new customer, average new customer contribution per order. We have your return rate percentage, refunds, gateway, payment gateways, COGS, custom expenses, shipping. If you have handling fees, you can put that there. Oh, I do have it here. So I already have it right there. Interesting. Look at that. I'm already doing my homework. I'm going to push this up here. But yeah, and then, these are all my little custom metrics. Cool. And then I actually don't like to see my custom metrics, so I'm gonna hide that. But anyways, that was a whole bunch to take in. So let's start getting interactive. I don't understand. Let's see. P ROAS expenses getting dialed in. Yes.
I don't think we pull in custom expenses to the POAS, right? Even if they're marked ad spend, I don't know if that's being pulled in.
We do if it's marked ad spend because
Okay.
it's, or let me actually, Logan, can you make an action item to make sure I'm not talking out both sides of my mouth, or unless you know
Yeah.
that, but I'm pretty sure we take out the ad spend in that gross profit calculation. It's a really good point. So I need to get that fixed up.
But we do pull COGS,
Mhm.
taxes,
Mhm.
discounts.
Mhm.
I'm not sure about shipping.
We do shipping.
Shipping is okay.
It's deducted, correct?
Okay.
Yep, COGS, shipping, taxes, discounting. For that, you can do a POAS where you do add in. So you can make a POAS where the numerator is not gross profit, Kevin. It would be net profit, which we do expose. And so you can take your net profit divided by all. Yeah. So if you do, you're tracking now. So if you put all those custom expenses in, that will deduct from the net profit. And then instead of the gross profit being the numerator, you can use your net profit. I actually did that with a client that had a fairly, I don't want to say simple as a pejorative, but just a really tidy business. And so it was really easy to do that.
And I think, Kevin, to that point, what I did for one of my clients is I went through and added their fixed expenses per order. So I know what their fixed expenses are per day. So what I did is I went and took an average of the number of orders that they've had over, I just did this year. And then I took that daily average divided by the number of orders per day average to then get that cost. And so now I'm more or less looking at true profit per every order. So, so what I did for that, maybe Rob, if you go to your contribution margin per new order. There you go. So what I did here is I took my new customer AOV minus my new customer, I guess, contribution margin per order, or I get, what do we call that, Logan? Variable expenses?
Yep.
So yeah, new customer AOV minus variable expenses, and then minus my fixed expense total. So I just did integer there.
Yep.
That was $47 is more or less what that total came down. So now I'm able to track exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
But this comes out to be more like profit per new customer. You know,
Net
you had fixed
profit.
expenses. Yeah.
Essentially
Yep.
net profit. So what you could also do here is that would be at the kind of order level. And if you did POAS with a net profit as the numerator, it'd be the same, but instead of per order, you're looking at it on a ad spend in net profit out basis, like a ratio.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that I don't have in here, and there's a really good, this is actually our friends over at Common Thread. How do I stop sharing my screen here? I swear I'm getting older and older. I can't even work technology anymore. It's sad. Sad day.
Why do you need access to the Wi-Fi?
The Strava. Yeah. How do you get it? What's the password? Yeah, have you ever seen the GIF with the lady taking the picture of herself with the camera backwards? So this is ultimately what's happening here is that this cost of delivery is kind of what we're referring to as variable expenses. And so you're going to take that. And what, to your point, Kevin, what True Classic Ben does is they just take, so we have your return rate in the summary page, and in those, so we would just make a custom metric for that return rate times the actual MSRP of the SKU. And then you can get that. So you can take that times your AOV if you want, or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely do the monthly rent and stuff like that, especially so
Yeah.
the one reason I don't recommend net profit uh as a default is because as a marketer, if you are integrated into the system, you shouldn't be held accountable for net profit because you have all these operational expenses that are going to live between gross and net. And so if you concentrate on gross and you give them the most gross profit, then it's on the business to run an efficient business. But if it is your business or if you're partnering really tightly with the business, getting down to and operating at the net profit level can be just incredibly not only liberating, but really shows you that you're making this person real money, like but money is going into the bank account and staying there. Sensational. Yeah, here we go, Matt.
And one thing Bastion asked above there about shipping costs. I apologize that some things moved around the app. Number one, we don't have the ability for you to get down to the granular level of shipping cost per product that would be used like in a dynamic format. But what you can do is swag it a little bit. If you go to I'll put it in here, app.tripwhale.com/shipping. When you're logged in, you can set just an average shipping cost for any order per country. And that way that's how we calculate the shipping expense under expenses for you. So just go there. It used to be in the store drop down, but we got rid of the store. And now that we have this new, this new UI or UX, whatever you want to call it. So just go there and put it in as an average for now. It'll just help you get a little closer.
And I think there was something, and we'll have to check with, and you might know, we were trying to build in some semblance of a like shipping importer so we could get that granular level where we're matching the shipping and handling expenses and pick and pack expenses to the order number, but I don't know how far along that has been, because that's the ideal where every week or every few days you're just uploading your shipping manifest, or not manifest, but you guys get what I'm saying, your shipping data from your 3PL or whoever's handling that, and then you can really start to understand at that granular level. But until then, you can do these cool little averages, which is really quick and ultimately not horrible. The challenge with averages is if you're going to have a ton of variance, and that's where it gets a little hinky, but not here nor there. Man, this is so lively. I love it. Okay. Matt's into it. Bastion, what a cool name. Is there a way to exclude customers or orders from the overall reporting? For example, ops or marketing folks that are placing free orders. I find that this skews. I like what you did there. It skews our data, particularly the product reporting. Fantastic question. Logan, any thoughts here? Because this is something that we found with when Triple first came out. We were working with a really large furniture store, and they would send tons of like swatches, right? Like you want to see what this leather looks like, and it was a free purchase, and it would really, to her point, skew the data. So what's the haps there? Let me throw this.
Yeah. So what we defaulted.
Great question.
The default answer here is that we have excluded $0 orders from your AOV calculation. That was the biggest issue we were having, is that free orders were being placed. It made the order count increase, and therefore revenue divided by order count created this misalignment with AOV. So we excluded $0 orders from AOV. The other thing to do is to go into your summary page. You can actually set up a filter on Shopify and exclude or build an exclusion essentially that says order tag does not contain, and then whatever order tag you're using for those, you were saying marketing folks placing free orders, make sure they just tag the order with something like marketing, free, I don't know, whatever you want. And then you can set up that filter on the summary page. It will not help your product analytics right now, which is a good question, how you could take that. I don't think that's going to be available right now, but I will talk to the people in charge, see what we can do.
Look at that. Getting it done.
If she was to delete them in Shopify, we would no longer import them, right?
Well, they're already stored in our database, so historical data is going to be skewed.
Well, and you could nuke it though with a segment, couldn't you? Where if you are doing that tagging, you could say tag does not contain.
Oh yeah, you can nuke it on the summary page. I don't think that filter follows you.
there's segments on product filters now or product analytics now too. Let me make
But
sure
it's
I'm
but it's not
speaking
but
out
it's
of
not an
turn.
order tag. It's product tags. So product tag, vendor name, product name.
I'm
So I
tracking what you're
can't
saying
just
now.
exclude. Like the
I'm
problem
tracking
is
what you're
like
saying now.
there's the underlying data that says this order contains XYZ product.
I'm
I
tracking.
think she just wants to exclude all of those orders from the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm tracking. And Alyssa, why don't you send me your size and address? I can never resist a good pun, whether it was intended or not. Let's get you some whaleware. Okay, what else we got? We still have the cohort question that who asked that?
We have a Klaviyo question as well.
Well, I'm excited
Okay,
for
yeah.
that one. People
Okay,
don't
jump in.
understand Klaviyo attribution, and it's a joke.
Okay, jump in. Let's do it.
30-day open.
Well, I think most people don't go and set like customize the default settings there. But let me read a couple of things from Klaviyo here. So by default for email.
Hold on. Let's answer this question.
Oh yeah, put it up there.
Yeah. There we go.
I got it.
Oh, look at that.
There's two things that I think are very, very important here when it comes to Klaviyo attribution.
Okay.
By default, the attribution window for email is 5 days, but that can be adjusted. Now, attribution means did they click or did they open? Not just click-based attribution, did they open? The problem here, in my opinion, the problem here, in my opinion, is that opens are likely skewed right now. I think a lot of people do the research if you haven't already. iOS and Gmail are basically auto opening. What they do is they scan the email, and in the email, there's always this pixel near the header that basically says this is now open. We're tracking it. And when their bots open it, it triggers that pixel and fires back to Klaviyo that says, hey, this has been opened. But it hasn't been opened by a human. It's been opened by their bots to make sure it's safe.
This is only in iOS mail app, correct?
I think it happens I've tested it recently with another brand. And for example, I used my triplewhale.com account, which is only connected to my Gmail, not iOS. I don't have it on my phone. I just use the Gmail app. As soon as I signed up, within 30 seconds, Klaviyo says I had opened the email. I hadn't opened the email.
Interesting. Because we have the majority of our whale mailers are like in the 85 to 90 percentile in terms of the Gmail app. So or in terms of Gmail. Oh, I get what you're saying, actually. So I actually don't know that because it's actually just a service provider that's Gmail. I need to look in to see what the actual opening mechanism is. Yeah, device.
All right, here's the other big thing about Klaviyo attribution that everyone needs to know. Klaviyo is like Google. If everyone knows how Google attributes revenue, it's back to the event date. So Klaviyo actually attributes an order revenue back to the date of which you sent the message. So even if it takes 5 days for them to make a purchase, they're going to push that revenue back to the day you sent the email, not the day of the order. Following?
Yeah, I am.
Maybe you're using event date and you're seeing all this revenue for today, and you log into Klaviyo and you may look at the exact same day and it's not going to match up at all. And number one, we're only click-based attribution, so we're not taking those opens into account. But two, if you're looking at the date of the order, it's totally not going to match unless everyone's placing an order the same day you sent the email, which could happen. But those are two things I think are very important about Klaviyo attribution that differs from us.
So what's the fix, or how do you hone in? Like, how do you normalize for that?
And well, here's, I think Klaviyo is one of those things where you are spending a decent amount of money if you have a big list. I think list hygiene is important. I would likely try to drive clicks as a proxy for engagement and not opens. So like from our standpoint, I would say that Klaviyo and PostScript and these attentives are probably claiming more attribution than they need to. That may not really matter for your business though, because if you're looking at something like triple attribution or total impact, we're still going to show you that these customers came from Facebook. They came from TikTok. They came from Pinterest, whatever that may be. It's not like, oh, I need to go scale Klaviyo. Everyone knows you still need Klaviyo or Attentive or PostScript to help drive retention efforts and new customer acquisition, basically their conversion rate. But I think the big play here is just understanding like how big is PostScript to our business? How big is Klaviyo to our business on a same attribution window. Clicks, 7-day, 1 day, across all platforms. This is what they're doing.
Can I throw something in there as well?
Yeah.
Kevin, love it. Love it. We actually pull. So let me just put some clarity here. The metrics that you're going to see on the dashboard from Klaviyo are actually from Klaviyo. What Logan is talking about is the pixel metrics. And so like, actually I can just share my
For the
screen
Klaviyo
right
page
here.
on the summary thing, this is also kind of a joke. They have 2 different dashboards. So if you log into Klaviyo, they have a performance dashboard, and then I think the other one's called analytics. Both operate off 2 different theories. So the API we use is the performance dashboard. So just know that too. These things are all, Klaviyo's kind of got an interesting thing going on.
Oh my gosh, muddying the water even more. But so what Logan's talking about, it's the same date range. The pixel track, $32,000, call it 33K in conversion value here. Whereas the actual conversion value is 85K. And so, yeah, that's quite almost, yeah, it's a lot. Big difference there, not more than half. So
yeah, I'm logging into Klaviyo now to tell everybody exactly what these 2 different dashboards are, because I think that's important to understand. Go do your own research on it as well, but just as a heads up.
Well, one thing that's cool to highlight here, to go back up to the pixel all section, Rava. Click on the purchases. The 223 from Klaviyo. No, sorry, the actual number from Klaviyo.
This thing?
Yeah. Where it shows, your customer orders, and then you can actually click and see your customer journey. So you can actually see what customers are clicking on what specific emails and what other marketing channels are influencing them.
Okay.
So,
that's nice.
Sorry, the customer name.
Yeah. I don't want to, it'll have some identifying stuff. Drill down into it, but totally. And you can see that, because that's actually going to be a great jumping off point for the next few weeks. I believe we're redoing our whole customer journeys. And so that'll essentially be the aggregate of what you're seeing there. So that's a really good point, Sandra, where you can do some inspections where it'll hit your purchases, drill down into the actual customer, and you'll be able to see the whole chronology from the first time Triple Whale knew who they were to all the last actions they've taken. So it's a really good tip. Okay.
Richard, don't worry. It's going to be available on YouTube. So you can always go back and watch.
Richard! My man. Lixie Design's the best in the biz.
Guys, Richard, correct me if I'm wrong. One thing, I just want to go back to Klaviyo for a second. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on like I think one thing, if you're in charge of Klaviyo for your business, because that's what I was at the previous e-com startup I was at, is like, we had a Facebook ads group, we had a Google ads group. And then my main objective was like the full calendar, monitoring all of that. But then like I owned Klaviyo, and I actually took away PostScript and just used Klaviyo for a little while. Mm-hmm. But my main objective was just to understand like the impact all these flows and campaigns were having, and where do I need to optimize? Is it 3 messages a week? Do I need to segment this group and that group, and what's the performance there? It wasn't really like, oh my gosh, Klaviyo is driving 50% of my revenue. I just always wanted to improve whatever it was, and I would do little tests here or there to improve it. From a cost perspective, I believe they still do this, but they had updated it a year and a half ago to where you had to choose like your list size or like a number of sends. It was something like that. And I think if you are filling up your list with a bunch of people who you think are opening but aren't, and they're not engaging at all, that may be your opportunity to cut costs. But I think you can also look in Triple Whale and rely on the click data to understand how each campaign is really performing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would do.
Yeah. One last thing. Oh,
go ahead, Sander.
Just going to say, Logan touched on this before, but you can actually change your attribution window in Klaviyo. So I'd recommend doing like some kind of click attribution in Klaviyo. Now you'll still be able to track your open rates and all of that are, like Logan said, also kind of skewed now with iOS 14.5 as well. But yeah, I would change your attribution model in Klaviyo to be some kind of, I think even if you did like a 7-day click, I think that's totally valid.
Yeah. I think 7-day click is very, very valid. It's a really good point. Fantastic stuff here, guys. This is awesome. I didn't know about the Klaviyo attribution window change. That's really interesting. That's something where I'm not a big chew through guy. I'm not super into it. So chew through conversions, not that they don't exist. I just don't like if you can, for me, if you can improve click-based conversions, everything, it's kind of like a rising tide. So that's a really good point, Sandra and
Well,
Logan.
I'm fairly certain this was like, I think if I remember correctly, this was my big beef with, and this is not against PostScript specifically, it's just that we were using them. That has a pretty hard cost because I think every message, especially if you're sending an MMS, I think it gets up to like 50, 60, 70 cents. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys know better than me, but it was expensive. So I
Yeah.
had to say, what was the true ROI on this platform? And the tough part there is I think that all of those SMS, even Klaviyo, they have an attribution window that says, did they receive this message? Because they don't get open rates for SMS. They do get clicks, but it's like if the recipient received the message and then within 5 days makes a purchase, they would attribute 100% of that order back to the receipt of the message. And it was really hard for me to understand, well, did that message really make the difference? Or was it just noise? Did I just pay 70 cents across thousands of customers for noise that didn't matter? That was the troublesome thing for me.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I moved away from cutesy gifts and stuff like that just because the cost structure gets a little bit prohibitive. Where to your point, like sending 50, 60 cent messages, it's like you can paper cut yourself to death, especially when you start working with larger businesses with really big lists where you send that to 20, 30, 50,000 people. It's like, it's not nothing. Really good stuff, guys. Really good stuff.
My little tip there, by the way, if you just want to test the efficacy of like opens against clicks, when you send your next SMS, give them a very unique discount code that they could only get through SMS, just to see if people, because I think on mobile, people do open it and then they don't click because they can just open the website over on Safari or whatever they're doing, and maybe even have the website open. So give them a specific SMS promo code and then look at that discount code usage in Shopify to see what the usage rate is compared to your clicks.
Yeah, and you can even do it now with you can create fancy links in Shopify that make basically like a magical link that people don't even have to remember a discount code. They'll click it, and when they check out, the discount code will automatically apply to them. So Shopify has done some really awesome stuff in innovating there, where you can embed a lot of data in a link. And so 100% though, really good stuff, guys. Really good stuff. I think we have two more questions. Okay. Cohort. We'll get to the cohort, I promise. And then let's see. Kevin always has the good. Okay. Change of tack. I live in GA for conversion rate by source medium. There a way to set up in Tripwhale new versus returning customers? Sounds like just create a custom metric.
I mean, the Pixel is the best way to do this.
Pixel. Yeah. Go for it, Logan.
No, I think that you can look at it. It's kind of source medium. Basically, you have the channels, which are your sources. I guess they're kind of like the medium. We don't have a medium for like just paid by itself, but I guess you can look at paid as a channel in the Pixel drop down. But we do have conversion rate, which is sessions or orders divided by sessions. And then we have new customer orders versus all orders. And so I don't think we have new customer order conversion rate.
We don't.
We will have custom metrics soon on the Pixel, so you could make it yourself if you wanted.
Oh, really?
Yep. But we also have visitors versus new visitors. So you can look at that too. Maybe you make your own little conversion rate, which is like new customer purchases divided by new visitors or something. But we use sessions just like GA does for our conversion rate. And then on the summary page, I don't think that exists because
new customer conversion rate.
Yeah, Logan's saying we don't have it for existing customer conversion rate. So we have Pixel conversion rate and new customer conversion rate, not an existing customer conversion rate.
You'd have to like take orders minus new customers divided by.
Wouldn't that? Oh, because existing is going to be, or conversion rate will be new and returning.
Yeah.
New customer rate is going to be new, obviously, but there is not a in specific returning conversion rate, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Sorry.
And I think this might be a good segue into repurchase rate in the cohorting page, because that's honestly what I would look at more so.
Yeah, I'm sure Kevin's just trying to understand, like, is Facebook traffic converting at the same rate as
Yeah, totally.
TikTok or whatever he's looking
And
at.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that, candidly, I think you won't be flying too crazy with conversion rate blended and then the new customer conversion rate, just depending on what channels you're running. But it is definitely something to look at for sure. That makes a ton of sense, though. Man, these questions are so good today.
Glad people are in the platform playing around.
Let's go. Oh, wow. Chat's blown up. Okay. Kevin,
Also,
are you good?
Just so everyone knows, one of the best ways to get feedback through to the product team. One, the webinar is great. Come here and ask us. But you also, like, the chat icon at the bottom. Just send a message there, even if it's not a complaint or like whatever. Just let customer service know, hey, this is what I'd like to have. Can you please send it to the product team? And they have a format of taking that information and putting it through a channel that we can then look at in the future for changes to the product. So do that, please, if you haven't already in the past.
Amazing. Of course, Kevin. Awesome. Kevin, why not? I don't think we've gotten you any swag before. Hit me up, Robert Triple L, size Addy. We'll get it done for you. Let's see. I think we'll round out because we have 3 minutes left. They have patiently waited for the cohort answer. Is there anything else that we should
jump into the cohorts?
Okay, take it over, Sandy.
Can you share your screen? I'm just on this little MacBook Air.
Oh yeah, of course. Let me get
the travel computer.
Cohorts.
The travel computer.
Have you guys ever traveled with the iPad? Does that work?
I don't even own an iPad.
I have one, but I never use it. Okay, share the screen.
I feel like I just love the mouse,
Yeah, I don't know what I would use an iPad for.
Oh no, how do I do that? Oh no, I answered it, but I didn't answer it. Can I unanswer it?
Maybe just copy and paste it again.
Oops. Oh yeah, that's actually a really good call. Okay, I'm hustling. I'm on your cohorts page. Let me share it for you. Excuse me. Oh, also let us know what you think of the little helpful videos. I rather like them. Okay, let's do 365. Give you some actual data here. Let me give you some zoom so you can see the whole year. Okay.
Robba's gonna hit me for doing this, but I actually don't love if we have a full month's worth of data to take a partial month's worth of data. So Robba, can you just go January 1st, 2022 to April 18th, 2023?
This guy, unbelievable.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. The things I do for this kid, unreal.
It's very nice of you.
Manually scroll through months.
That's unbelievable.
Data.
I do this every time, so
I'll give you March.
Okay, that's perfect.
The heck?
So more or less, just like quick breakdown here. You can see Robba has the dollar. We have 4 different views you can look at it. So we have total revenue generated by new customers by month. We have the number of customers. We have percentage of repeat purchase rate by those customers in subsequent months. And then we have LTV, which is going to be an average of revenue by month divided by your total number of new customers by month. So that's how you get the average. So like Rob has given this example in the past, but how we do our cohort analysis is more or less you're drafted to the team or the month that you become a new customer and you are stuck there forever. So Shopify looks at this very differently. They are making some changes there, but they'll look at the number of times a customer has repeat bought in the time period you've selected. Where if we exclude January 2022 from this, I'm not going to make Robba do that because then he'd have to go check all the months again. It's not going to change any of the data that we're seeing from February, March, any subsequent month after this. So
Right.
how I like to leverage this, this is just giving me a quick snapshot of what months have I generated the most new customer revenue. So looking here, we can see a big jump in April 2022 at 116,000, and then also in November 2022. So May also was another good month. So this is just helping me. Anytime I look at data, I'm just looking for outliers in the data. So what sticks out, and on this specific, this is the number. So then I also want to look at like number of customers. So now toggle that number, and I'm going to assume that April, May, and November are all going to be good months of new customers since I had good jump in revenue there. So yeah, 887, 897, and 716. So not as big in November based on the revenue, which also makes sense. You're going to drive more new purchase revenue there. Percentages, we're not gonna spend too much time here, but more or less we're looking at that first order. So the number of new customers dividing by whatever those new customers repeat bought in subsequent months. So in January 2022, month 1 would be February, right? Month 2 would then be March, month 3 would be April, all the way down is how that is being calculated.
The one thing here, make sure you do not have cumulative turned on, because the percentages won't make sense. You'll have more than 100% in the cohorts.
Yep. Great. The only time I like to use cumulative is in this next section, which is LTV.
And I like cumulative a little bit on the percentage if you want to understand, like, did you reach saturation within that cohort? So if it was cumulative percentage and it reaches 200%, that means everyone in that cohort repeat purchased in the time frame selected, which would be really cool.
Interesting take.
This is basically telling you that 38% of customers acquired in January 2022 ordered again by now, in the month of March, by March.
That's an interesting take. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So that's
I like that
one way
one.
to think about it.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Good.
Super.
So if you're like a
Super
subscription company, right? So if every single one of these people in January were on a subscription, that means that you only retained 38%, essentially. Now that may not be true, but
I mean, it's essentially going to be that repurchase rate, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, so then click on LTV now, looking at that cumulative. So yeah, so more or less what I like to look for here. Now every business is different, but for month 3, we typically like to see 100% increase in LTV by month 3. Or sorry, what did I say? Did I say 30% or 100%? 30%.
Yeah,
30% increase by month 3, and then 100% increase by month 12. Now, like I said, every business is different. If you're a subscription business, then you actually probably want to be closer to 100% increase by month 3. That's a much better rate to be at. So those are just some average benchmarks that we tend to see. And maybe I shouldn't say average. Those are benchmarks where people have their lifecycle marketing really dialed in. So when I say lifecycle marketing, I mean email marketing and SMS, maybe some community marketing, things like that thrown in there. So yeah, that's more or less our cohort analysis.
Yeah, that's a really, really well done. The other thing here is if you have a product that doesn't break even, essentially the first order or the new customer CPA is greater than the first order, you can switch on this new customer payback, and it'll highlight the cohort that you'll actually break even on. So this is for people that want to buy kind of demand for the future. They'll acquire at, $50, somebody spends $30, but then they eventually will spend 90 or 100. This will show you what month the cohorts are breaking even on as well. So also another cool little tidbit. And then the last thing I'll say is there's some cool filters here that you can segment by product, discount code, for insight, customer tag, et cetera, if you want to look at the cohort differently. And then if you want more granularity, you can do cohorting by week or day to understand people acquired on a certain day. So you might have had a sale or et cetera, or Black Friday or whatever. And how do those Black Friday people actually materialize? So you can see that Black Friday people are actually worth a lot for this client, where people are actually staying and spending a lot of money, especially in this the October cohort, October, November. But yeah, that's great stuff, Sonder. We're 5 minutes over, so let's see. We have some chat stuff. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, a couple of things inside baseball, just to go through the chat and summarize there. Recharge and Skio integrations. It's like it is a goal of ours to have it integrated into Triple Whale by the end of the quarter. So hopefully end of June. And then what else? Benchmarks, a couple weeks away.
Amazing.
You guys would be amazed at, like, we have a team working on this. And I know it sounds rudimental. It's totally not. It's amazing when you break down as much data as we have across as many stores as we have across as many countries and currencies, how much work goes into making sure that all that data is accurate. So get excited for that.
Very exciting.
The cohorts page we just went over, we hired a new product manager who's like a seasoned veteran. She told us this week at a product meeting that she's got some amazing new updates coming to that feature that she's really excited about and thinks will blow the competitors out of the market. So I don't have all the details there, but just stay tuned. Like, she's working on it. That's what she's in charge of. So that's amazing. I think and the AI stuff we're working on with Willie, every day there's a new update. So pretty amazing what's going on in the behind the scenes.
The other thing that I would talk about for cohorting is if you do use those segments, disregard the new customer CPA and repurchase rate. They don't calculate correctly yet for the CDP segments because there's a place, but the values are correct. Just disregard the NCCPA and the repurchase rate. We are 7 minutes over. Alyssa, fantastic questions. Kevin, Jennifer, Christopher, amazing stuff. Let's see. I'm trying to get information on a data analytics intern with you guys. Who can I contact? Either ping us on the chat, or I think all of our stuff is on the website. So hit us up there. We'll get you all taken care of. Christopher, Logan, close this out, and then I'll toss it over to Sandra, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Let us know if you have any questions about setting up your summary page. This will go to YouTube soon, so I would go watch this video, pause it, set up your summary page in similar format to the way Raba did. And if you have questions on how to set up certain sections, I think it'll be a game changer. We'd love for you to share it to Twitter when you have a section set up that you're psyched about. We want to see what you got.
Love that. Sonder, capital. What is it? Music capital of the world.
One of them.
Capital of the world.
Isn't it?
Whoa.
Or what's
I know there's like Austin and Nashville.
Or I guess Austin is too. Yeah, I forgot, but Nashville as well. Hit us with some closing thoughts.
Just echo what Logan said. Summary page, I'm getting more and more into. So I'm loving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm just building out all these sweet custom metrics and tracking profitability, and it's looking. I don't know, I usually spend all my time in like the pixel section or the insight section, so it's good. I'm a big fan of the new custom metrics, so leverage that.
Come to the light, Sonder. The
Dark.
water's fine.
The
The water's
side.
fine. Get on in here. Yeah, you're the Pixel Creative Cockpit Master. If you guys aren't already on Whale Mail, triplewhale.com/whale mail. Get on there. Tuesday, Thursday, we do all the awesomeness there. We have a bunch of podcasts. So we have You're Not Your ROAS. We have Ad Spend, all the thingies. Make sure to subscribe there. They'll be on our YouTube channel, or you can find them on any podcast catcher. What else? Yeah, and then I think we're spinning up, I don't know if it's done yet, but we're spinning up a little questionnaire sheet that we can send to you guys to start to prime some of these webinars to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of your time. And speaking of time, we're 9 minutes over, but this was the best whale webinar ever. We really appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week, 1 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much. Sonder, Logan, you guys are the best. We'll see you on the flip. Bye.
Toodaloo.